Hey, it's Tony with Fit Ripped, the YouTube channel where we help you achieve your fitness goals and lose weight on the keto diet. Today we're going to check in, see how we're doing on the weigh-in, the blood test, and breath test for ketones. And we're going to talk about the difference between those tests and the urine test. So let's get right into it. All right, gang, today we're going to do our weigh-in for day number 4. Happy Valentine's Day, February 14th, 2020. $173. Okay, now we are going to get the breath ketone and blood ketone measurements in for day 4, February 14th, 2020. Let's see where we're at this morning. Will it be high, low, or the same as yesterday? All right, we are at 1.1 on the blood ketone test for today. So we're on day 4. We've lost 6.5 pounds, but our breath and blood ketone tests are pretty much stable compared to day 3. So I just want to do a very quick rundown of what I've eaten on day 3 and day 4 so you can compare where I'm at with what your results are looking at. On day number 3, the 13th, we had 14 grams of net carbs and only 1,083 calories. I'm a firm believer of eat when you're hungry, and I definitely did on the 13th. That ended up only being a net of about 1,100 calories. So that's going to help explain some of the weight loss because our calories were well below target and in a very firm calorie deficit. Breakfast was basically coffee with the MCT oil and whipping cream, a couple eggs, 3 slices of bacon. Lunch was some ham with spinach, and dinner was some pork loin with spinach and a snack of a sugar-free vanilla yogurt. For day 4, the 14th, the total calories was 1,155 with 13 grams of net carbs. The meals were again coffee with just 4 slices of bacon. Lunch was pork loin, half an avocado, and 3 cups of spinach. And then dinner we had pork loin with some avocado, couple ounces of tomatoes, a little bit of shredded cheese, and a homemade vinaigrette. And I did have some spinach with that also, which I forgot to log in here. So if we look at the totals, we're probably at about 14 grams of net carbs and 1,200 calories. So firmly in a calorie deficit, and we should be firmly on our way into ketosis, but the difference between day 4 and day 3 was negligible, so I expect that that will accelerate in the next 2 to 3 days. So now real quick, we're going to do a quick rundown of the 3 types of ketone bodies that are produced by your body, how you can test for each one with the urine, breath, or blood meter, which one's right for you and which one you probably should not be doing. So there's 3 basic ways to test for ketones in your body. The one that most people are familiar with is probably the urine test. It's cheap, quick, and easy to do. A lot of beginners start with this one. The second method is doing a blood test, which does require you to do a slight prick on your finger to get a blood droplet. It's relatively painless, but the tests do cost about $1 for the test strip every time you do it. The third way is a little bit newer. It is breath testing. It measures acetone on your breath. You do a long, slow 10-second breath into the meter to get your test result that way. One of the key things to understand when you're using the different testing methods is that they are testing for 3 different things. There's 3 types of ketone bodies produced once you deplete your glycogen through limiting your carbs. Acetoacetate is the first ketone body that's going to be produced. It is the one that will be detected in a urine test. Now, one of the issues with the urine test is that as your body gets more efficient at using ketones, acetoacetate is not going to be eliminated through urine. So you can be in ketosis, and after a few weeks, you will no longer detect this ketone body in your urine, and you may think that you're not in ketosis if this is the only method that you're using. That is not necessarily the case. It just means that your body has got more efficient at burning up and using ketones, and they're no longer being eliminated through the urine. The other problem with urine tests is that they are highly variable depending on how much water that you've been drinking. If you're dehydrated, you could have a higher concentration of acetoacetate in your urine. If you've been drinking a lot of water, the opposite could be in effect, and you could not show very much of this ketone body in your urine. So I do not recommend urine test strips for testing ketone levels. The good thing about them is that they're cheap and they're easy to do, but overall they're not a good test to use for the long term. The second type of ketone bodies is commonly called BHB. This is the one that we test for in the blood. Now, BHB is the main ketone your body utilizes in ketosis, and therefore it's the most important one to measure. The downside to blood meter tests is they cost about $1 per test for the little test strips, and you do have to poke your finger. It doesn't hurt a whole lot, and you're not going to bleed all over the place. So bottom line, the blood meter test for BHB is the gold standard for measuring your level of ketosis because it measures the predominant ketone body used as fuel. The third and final type of ketone body is acetone. Now, when the first one, acetoacetate, breaks down by the body, it is turned into BHB and acetone. BHB goes through your blood and is used by the body. Acetone is exhaled through the breath, and so we can test for that byproduct breakdown in the breath using the breath meter. The bottom line about breath test, you're checking for a byproduct, and you're not actually measuring ketones that your body is using for fuel. The plus side is it's cheap, it's easy, and you can do it as many times of day as you would like. Well, I hope after watching this quick video you understand the 3 different types of ketone bodies and why we have 3 different types of tests, the pros and cons of each one. And I hope you understand why that using the urine test strips is not the optimal way to test for your ketones. Check back in tomorrow for the update on day number 5, and keep on ketoing.